What's going on, America? Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. Before we get into this video, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble in the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well. Now, with no further ado,
welcome to my party, we're just getting started.
There's no denying it. Gold is hot right now. Prices are soaring and experts are predicting even more to come. Not so long ago, gold reached an all-time high of $2,069 per ounce. And now, it's inching ever closer to that number again. Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the world, is saying gold will rise still to over $2,200 an ounce this year. So what, right? Well, gold is already a safety net for your hard-earned money. And now, when the stock market is all over the place and the value of the dollar is uncertain, being safe really counts like never before. Noble Gold is offering a 5-ounce American the Beautiful coin for any qualifying IRA or 401k rollover, and of course, terms apply. A solid silver U.S. Mint issued coin celebrating our national parks. Free with every precious metal IRA or 401k rollover. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call 877-646-5347 or go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, let's get to this video.
So how is the border secure?
So as far as the border, we're taking unprecedented action. We had to fix something that was broken, especially by the last administration.
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the President and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made. Pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
Our borders are not open.
First of all, the idea that Joe Biden said come, because I heard the other day that they're coming because they know I'm a nice guy and I won't do what Trump did.
This.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. They're not.
We come here not as conquerors, but as liberators. It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. Return to your homes. Hold your families close. And wait. The fire rises.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
I got a bad feeling about this.
At dawn, the migrants covered in blankets stretch for blocks. And tonight, El Paso is under a state of emergency because city officials say they don't have enough resources to handle this.
Build back better.
Today, we saw that desperation as migrants here scrambled for food and water. We were here several months ago, and there appear to be many more migrants now. The difference is striking. This group extends all the way around this church for several
Republicans are more interested in campaigning on immigration than actually solving it. The bill, H.R. 2, would be a disaster for border security and a Christmas morning gift for human smugglers. And instead of providing the needed resources for more border security technology and asylum officers and judges, it would waste taxpayer dollars on an ineffective wall, again, an ineffective wall that can't even withstand heavy winds, let alone sophisticated criminal smuggling networks.
Arizona Congressman Ruben Gallego said, quote, federal agencies have had time to plan, but their efforts have fallen short. How do you respond to him and some other Democrats who say that you've fallen short?
I would respectfully disagree. We have been planning for months and months, over a year and a half.
We have been planning for months and months, over a year and a half.
Well, illegal border crossings are at an all-time high, according to Customs and Border Patrol. More than 2.7 million migrants crossed the border illegally last fiscal year.
It's time to build back better.
We've expanded our holding capacity in Border Patrol stations. We've added beds to Immigration and Customs Enforcement in our detention facilities. We've increased our transportation resources. We're setting up regional processing centers now. It's extraordinary what we've done over the past 18 months or so.
Oh, really?
For days now, the number of asylum seekers waiting to cross the border has been surging, fueling a humanitarian crisis in parts of Mexico. Up to 12,000 migrants are expected to cross the border daily once Title 42 ends.
To power that cell phone charging station, they've got them labeled with people's names. There's another cell phone charging station right over there by the border fence.
And in fact, if you look at illegal immigration, let's look at CBP encounters. You can see 500,000, 500,000, it drops to the lowest level, and boom, what happens? You show up. And that red line is you. That red line is Joe Biden.
It's extraordinary what we've done over the past 18 months or so.
And the U.S. is preparing for a flood of migrants trying to cross the southern border as Title 42 is set to end in just 2 days. Come Thursday, that Trump-era policy that allowed authorities to immediately deport most migrants will no longer be in place. That means that tens of thousands of migrants currently waiting in Mexico can apply for asylum in the U.S.
Right now, as we're speaking, the Texas National Guard is loading Black Hawk helicopters and C-130s, deploying specially trained National Guard members for the Texas Tactical Border Force. They will be deployed to hot spots along the border to intercept, to repel, and to turn back migrants who are trying to enter Texas illegally.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice. Build that wall. 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 Build that wall.
Two things. Number one, they genuinely do not give a damn. And I know that sounds harsh, but if they gave a damn, they would change their policies. When they see 853 migrants who died in the last year crossing illegally, they'd say, let's stop this. When they see 100,000 people who die of drug overdoses, they'd say, let's stop this. When they see women who've been sexually assaulted over and over and over again, when they see kids who've been physically and sexually assaulted over and over and over again, if they cared, they would stop it. But it doesn't matter to them. We all remember AOC in her white pantsuit down at the border with her head in her hands crying. Why was she crying? Because Donald Trump was president. Obviously, she wasn't crying about the plight of the illegal immigrants because the plight has gotten worse and our communities are paying the price. They don't care, number one. But number two, the only explanation I can come up with for why they keep doing this is they look at everyone crossing illegally and they think that is a future Democrat voter. They recognize they can't win elections based on actual policy positions because their socialist policies are unpopular in America. And so they are trying to radically change the electorate in America, and they're willing to allow people to suffer and die in order to achieve that political objective. It really is cynical and it's cruel what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and every congressional Democrat is doing right now.
How do you think things are going at the border, sir?
Much better than you all expected.
Do you have any plans to visit
No,
the border?
I think. Pardon me?
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
Not in the near term, no. No, just be disruptive, not anything else.
Growing up, I had the privilege of living overseas and experiencing many different cultures and experiences. And while I'll forever cherish those experiences, it was not always easy to navigate relationships and find my place. However, once I walked through the doors of Chauncey High Cooper Hall and saw all the other students with the same desire to excel, I knew I was on the right path. I knew I'd found my place. Coming to Howard allowed me to find me. I found my voice and my passion. I appreciate Howard because it has always celebrated and embraced the idea of differences.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for taking my question. Can you just talk a little bit about some of the things that you've seen on the ground, some of the concerns that you're hearing? And given that we're in a region that's already seeing thousands of encounters a day, how confident are you that the measures that you've put in place are going to work?
I think that there is no question that this is going to be extremely challenging. I do not want to understate the severity of the challenge that we expect to encounter. The border is a very, as I said at the very outset, it is a difficult situation. It requires not only a community of action on this side of the border, but it requires a community of action south of our border, not only with our Mexican partners, but with other countries throughout the region. And indeed, we have an international approach to an international challenge. What I've seen on the ground in my visit to McAllen and to Brownsville is no different than what I've seen in my more than 15 prior trips to the border as the Secretary of Homeland Security. I have seen an extraordinary workforce in green uniform in the United States Border Patrol, in blue uniform in the Office of Field Operations of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, across the expanse of the Department of Homeland Security, and quite frankly, across the expanse of this entire administration. This administration addresses challenges as one team in an all-of-government approach.
Chief Ortiz, thank you for taking my question. Back in March in McAllen, you told Republican lawmakers that the U.S. does not have an operational control of the southern border. Do you still stand by that statement? And if so, what is, do you need to gain control of the border?
Yeah, so the question that was posed during my hearing was the congressional legislative definition of operational control where nobody crosses the border. I've been doing this job for 32 years. We've never had operational control. Have we had various levels of control? Yeah, most certainly. Even while I was the acting chief or deputy chief here for 5.5 years, this side of Rio Grande Valley was very secure, but out on my west side, we had surges quite often in Rio Grande City, Starr County, and Hidalgo County. And that plays out across the entire stretch of the 2,000 miles border that we share with Mexico. And so I have some sectors that I have greater levels of confidence in just because the flow isn't what it is. But this morning, Chief Chavez's team apprehended 2,300 people in this sector. And so that requires an awful lot of capacity and certainly poses some significant challenges for us. So I stick by my comments that I made during the hearing, but we've never had that.
Pathways and the plans that are in place, obviously, for majority Venezuelan migrants that was expanded to Haitian, Cuban, and Nicaraguan migrants. Why isn't that policy being enforced right now? Many of the migrants I'm meeting along the streets of Brownsville are swimming in between the ports of entry. As you have mentioned, if that happens, they're supposed to be returned. They're not being returned, and they're single adults without family here. Why is that happening?
So I think you are actually mistaken, because the parole process for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans that we first announced and implemented on January 5th is underway and continues to be underway. And we continue, if I may, it does. And if I may, we continue to parole individuals of those 4 nationalities when they qualify under the program that we established and announced. And that requires a sponsor here in the United States to ensure that those individuals have financial stability and they are able to arrive in a safe and orderly way. That is indeed underway. And we continue to expel Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. The number of Venezuelans that we've been able to expel has actually diminished over the past 2 weeks. The cause of that is a very complicated one. We've sat down with the Mexican government, and those expulsions, and of course, in a post-Title 42 environment, those removals will continue. And that is why the message is so important, that people, vulnerable people, are receiving false information They are being lied to that if they come and arrive at our border, that they can stay in the United States. That is not what the law provides. That is not the consequence that we will deliver.
Trump's Title 42 expires at midnight. Congressman, what do we know now about how many illegal immigrants are heading to the border?
Well, we've gotten word that there's 40,000, mostly Venezuelans, going up here. The incentivization is still there. In fact, more so now that Title 42 is going away. Deliberately dismantling the last of our tools to control and get a secure border. Deliberately. It is. I know of no other developed nation, Liz, that has zero borders like we have because of Alejandro Mayorkas and Biden's border policies.
What do you think of what's going on, Tom? How many illegal immigrant caravans? What's the number that you're hearing?
You know, it depends where you're looking at. South of Reynosa, south of Rio Grande Valley, you got about 25,000 there in shelters, and south of El Paso, you got over, last count was over 40,000 between the stretch from El Paso to the Big Bend sector. Look, this is, I agree with the congressman, this is a self-inflicted wound. If they want to secure the border, Liz, they can re-implement Remain in Mexico program today. The federal courts have said it was legal. That was a game changer for the Trump administration. Again, the federal court said it was legal. Matter of fact, the federal courts ordered the Biden administration to put it back in play. They just ignored the federal court order. So I find it disgusting that this administration inherited the most secure border in my career. Illegal immigration at 45 years old, and they unsecured it, not by mismanagement or incompetence, on purpose.
Arizona Congressman Ruben Gallego said, quote, federal agencies have had time to plan, but their efforts have fallen short. How do you respond to him and some other Democrats who say that you've fallen short?
I would respectfully disagree. We have been planning for months and months, over a year and a half.
We have been planning for months and months, over a year and a half.
Well, illegal border crossings are at an all-time high, according to Customs and Border Patrol. More than 2.7 million migrants crossed the border illegally last fiscal year.
It's time to build back better.
We've expanded our holding capacity in Border Patrol stations. We've added beds to Immigration and Customs Enforcement in our detention facilities. We've increased our transportation resources. We're setting up regional processing centers now. It's extraordinary what we've done over the past 18 months or so.
For days now, the number of asylum seekers waiting to cross the border has been surging, fueling a humanitarian crisis in parts of Mexico. Up to 12,000 migrants are expected to cross the border daily once Title 42 ends.
To power that cell phone charging station, they've got them labeled with people's names. There's another cell phone charging station right over there by the border fence.
And in fact, if you look at illegal immigration, let's look at CBP encounters. You can see 500,000, 500,000, it drops to the lowest level, and boom, what happens? You show up. And that red line is you. That red line is Joe Biden.
It's extraordinary what we've done over the past 18 months or so.
I mean, if Joe Biden did what I did and did what other Republicans have done, go to the border, you could see what we need. Okay, and by the way, he's sending these troops down there. Now, this is after 70,000 people have died of fentanyl. We've got criminals coming across the border, terrorists coming across the border, Chinese spies coming across the border. Mayorkas keep saying the border's secure. So here's my question for him. When you send all these troops down there, are they to process more illegal immigrants to come into this country? Or is it actually to do his job, secure the border, enforce the law? We have to have a border. Finish the wall. Put the stuff we spent while Trump was president for the technology. I mean, we have laws. We can enforce our laws. But Mayorkas and Biden have said, nope, we're going to have a completely open border. We don't care that 70,000 Americans are dying of fentanyl. We don't care that criminals are coming and terrorists are coming. That's the attitude that Biden and Mayorkas have right now.
Who are they? Exactly. Who are they? Families who fled war. They're not families.
They're not families?
No, they're men. Coming in.
Okay.
They're all individual
Why
men.
are they
And they
fleeing?
can come and go
Why
as they
are they
please.
fleeing?
But and this is a school.
Have you found out why
this
they're
is
fleeing?
a school. Why is there school safety in school? Why do we need school safety
But
officers?
why are they unsafe?
Why do we
Do
need
you have a
school
criminal
officers?
record? Do you have proof of a criminal record?
How about you call the mayor and say you want to have them to live in your house?
Sure.
Good. Get a name and send them to the mayor.
What is this fear?
Because this,
What
it's
is
not fear.
It's fear. This is fear-based.
This is
You
not
don't have a
fear-based.
record of a criminal record.
This is not fear-based.
Where the
As an
heck
adult.
is the President of the United States?
That is a good question, and I think we all should be asking, why is this happening to a city that was turning itself around and will continue to do so? This should not be happening to New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and the other big northern cities, and really it should not be happening to El Paso or Brownsville, Texas. No city should be carrying this burden. This is a national problem, and it needs a national solution.
Tonight, we're learning that several schools will be used to house incoming asylum seekers.
All right, as you can imagine, many parents aren't happy with the plan, claiming they were never told. Ashley Rodriguez live outside one of those schools in Williamsburg, Brooklyn tonight with reaction to the latest plan. Ashley.
Yeah, that's exactly what parents are saying. I mean, really, the city surprised everyone in this area that they were bringing migrants to be housed at this school. They told them yesterday afternoon. And not only that, the migrants will be taking over the newly renovated gym that services both PS-17 and MS-577. Give it to your parents. Tell them to show the ADM. Gotta protect your gym. Parents of PS-17 and MS-577 in Williamsburg stand outside during dismissal Monday afternoon, passing out flyers that say in big, bold letters, "Keep our kids safe."
I don't mind giving a helping hand, but when it interferes with the education of our students, yes, I do care.
Parents say they were given no notice about how many migrants are coming and who they are. Not only that, but the school's recently renovated gym is now off limits.
They waited like 2 years for the gym to get built and to come outside, or winter locked up in the school.
The kids will effectively be under a lockdown during recess, and they blame Mayor Eric Adams. They intend to tell him what's on their mind through a rally Tuesday at 8 a.m.
The mayor really got to look into the law, into what's permissible.
The location of PS-17 and MS-577 is now one of 150 temporary shelters in the city, not counting the 6 locations recently designated. The news coming down as 4,200 migrants arrived in the city last week.
It doesn't have to be in the public schools. They can put them somewhere else.
PS-17 does have a standalone gym. You can see it right there. The only issue, according to parents, is that they have to leave open the gate so that migrants can come and go freely. And as you can see, the school is just feet away.
There's no safety. They're giving us one safety officer, just one additional one. We only have 2 for a school of 700 kids.
The mayor's office responded, saying, "We are out of space. As the mayor has said, nothing is off the table as we work to fill our moral mandate, but we should all expect this crisis to affect every city service."
That's not fair. And it only happens on low-income communities where our children are failing and not empowered in any way. Makes me angry.
Now to the migrant crisis. New York City has turned to using schools to help some people of more than 6,500,000 asylum seekers who have arrived in the area since last spring.
Meanwhile, the town of Newburgh holding a meeting tonight to address migrants New York City has sent there on buses. An outrage after about 20 homeless veterans were forced to leave a hotel to make room for the immigrants.
65,000 asylum seekers have been here. What to do now?
Well, Sade, we've been here in the town of Newburgh for most of the day and still no buses arriving from New York City here at this town of Newburgh hotel right along Route 300 here in Orange County. In fact, we talked to a sheriff's deputy about 40 minutes ago, picked his brain as to whether he's received any sort of alerts or advisories regarding the buses. He has said no indication as to if or when those buses will arrive here. But nonetheless, just inside the Ramada, there's a welcome sign for the migrants, and then there are numerous social service workers inside, ready and waiting. Joseph Brooks stood outside the Ramada in the town of Newburgh and worked his cellular flip phone. After a 1-month stay at the Orange County Hotel, the 62-year-old retired food service worker suddenly needs a new place to sleep. He tried to rebook today, but workers told him there are no vacancies until December because asylum seekers from New York City are soon to arrive. What's next?
I gotta find me another hotel. You know, I was gonna try to get back here, but
it's not happening.
Not far away at the Crossroads Hotel, some of the newly arrived migrants soaked up the midday sun, scrutinized their paperwork, and wondered where their journey would take them next. A lawsuit filed by Orange County leaders says to make room for the busloads of asylum seekers, hotel management canceled some reservations and evicted guests, including some military veterans. Ridiculous, says Vietnam veteran Ronnie Yembras, who showed up to check on his brothers.
Could you imagine waking up in the morning for your coffee and you say, hey, we got to get out? And maybe the guy just found the room. Maybe he's been looking for a while. I just don't get it.
Back in the 5 boroughs, a public school gymnasium at PS 188 in Coney Island will now serve as a temporary emergency shelter for asylum seekers, joining the previously announced shelter plans at a former school on Staten Island. Preparations are now underway at 2 more schools as well. The detached gym in Coney Island will house about 75 migrants. They will not have access to the school, but that does little to ease the worries of anxious parents.
You mean as far as living?
Well, just for now.
And how temporary is this?
They don't really know. Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think this is a good idea because it's inside of a school.
I asked the counties, to be helpful to us in identifying any sites. I mean, doesn't mean we're going there, but just let's look at the whole array of options that we have in the state of New York.
Now, Governor Hochul acknowledged the lack of communication between the involved parties here, the state, the county, the city, she says has contributed to what she called the contentiousness surrounding this humanitarian crisis. Also, we should point out, she said she's yet to receive any word from the Biden administration about possibly using federal space like Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn as a site, a large-scale site for the asylum seekers. She says that would help.
Law of Sanctuary City was in place long before I became mayor. I'm following the law. As a law enforcement person, we follow the law. We're now in court today, asking the judge to revisit this law to deal with this humanitarian crisis, because even when they decided to put in place that law, no one thought that they would be dealing with a humanitarian crisis of this proportion.
All these resources that have not come to us, now you want to overly compensate for people who never lived here before, and we need to be taken care of first and foremost before anything else happens here.
Why would any leader put our black communities already riddled with crime at further risk by placing unvetted non-taxpayers steps away from our seniors, our children, and our homes we've worked so hard on our own to secure?
We are at war, people. Our communities are at war. They are violating our communities, and we asking that we across the country, and we asking and we're demanding for office of Black America, or whatever you want to call it, to deal with issues like this.
That's right. I did get placed on a wait list, but I was told that the immigrants was taking priority. See, that's a story that a lot of people don't know, and it hurt me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I understand we need to be humanitarian, but these people my participants are 3rd and 4th generation Chicagoans, born, bred, fed, and raised here. My grandmother, Mayorkas Carrington, rest in peace, always said, Craig, charity starts at home first, and then it go abroad.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have.
Many of these migrants have been dumped in our neighborhoods without a plan in place to monitor and house them long term.
I'm not selling nothing, and I keep telling people,
we
don't have to move. If you sell, they gonna come in. If we don't sell, we gotta stand strong and go.
That's right.
We just get started.
How about that? Okay, well, this is interesting. Well, why not?
Because it's private.
Well, no, this is a hotel.
It's closed.
It's closed? No, I just saw some people go inside.
You cannot come in.
Well, why can't I come in?
It's closed for you.
Why is it closed for me? Why is it closed for me, though? I don't understand.
This is a private area, so therefore it's private. You're not a resident here, and it's the last.
Who are the residents? I thought this was a hotel.
It's private area.
Now what? Now I don't understand the designation. Could you please explain it to me? What is the designation?
I'm trying to report this.
Hi. Yeah. Hello. Welcome. Yeah. Could you just explain that to me? I don't understand. It doesn't look like it's closed. Huh. Hi, welcome. Where are you from? Well, enjoy your stay.
Meanwhile,
it is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us. Yeah. That is completely unacceptable. We are in a humanitarian crisis right now. The black people in Chicago are bleeding on the streets.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
To the young lady on the end here who said that this is a humanitarian crisis, my brother was murdered in January. Chicago already has a humanitarian crisis.
That's right. Yes.
We
Yes.
don't have enough resources to support our people here.
That's right.
My mother has to look out the window to see where my brother was shot at because CHA does not want to move her. Okay? So my whole thing is, if we don't have resources to support us here already, why the hell would you all bring people here for one who don't like black people? That's already.
Yes. 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 Yes.
You all are sitting up here, and this is just to let you all know. This meeting here is a formality. They have to do this. They're going to do what they want to do anyway.
Well, we got to do what we got to do. We got to go to jail. Don't let the bitches in.
Audience here, we have to bear responsibility for what's going on now. Because for too long, the black community has been voting for the wrong people for too damn long.
Oh, that's right. Get there. Yes. That's right. Get Michelle ass out.
Voting for name recognition and because they're black.
That's right. Get Al stinky ass out. Now. Yeah.
So now what we need to do collectively, when next time the automatic races come up, we need to vote their asses out. When violence comes up, we need to vote
his ass out. Yes. 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 Yes.
God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos, find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.